Well, hello everybody. This is State of Exile 27, titled Beast. Oh man.
Beast.
The beast.
What we got going on today is pretty much everything Act 4 discussion, all the teasers they've been showing off, and they being ZiggyD, and they do a good job doing it. You know, they want you to read in between the lines multiple times. So with us today we have a special guest, SirVenomIK, who's fairly new to the PoE scene, about three months now, I'd say you've been playing?
About a week after Bloodlines.
Yeah, it's about 3-4 months then. Oh.
Yeah. Non-stop every day.
And,
What did you play before then? 'Cause I know you've been streaming for longer then, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been streaming about a year. Been playing about 3,000 or 4,000 hours into Diablo 3. Playing
welcome
that
to
team.
the dark side.
Talking about this is heaven. This is heaven compared, man.
Well, I'm glad you decided to come on board today. SirVenom, he definitely plays a... Well, actually, you know what? You could tell a little bit about yourself. What do you mainly do on your streamer in PoE?
Basically, the main build that I've been playing is Ball Lightning. I love the mechanics of Ball Lightning. I love the AoE on Ball Lightning. A lot of people are like, you should just go Arc, and I'm like, the mechanics on Arc aren't my thing. But no, Ball Lightning Templar has been my main. I've done it 4 or 5 different times and just had so much fun with it, and that and dying and using Spark.
As we saw on the pre-show. Well, a belated welcome to the Path of Exile community as well, Venom.
I appreciate that. I tell you
Good
what,
to have you
man,
here, man.
the community here in Path of Exile has been just so welcoming. You know, there's a couple of trolls that want you to explain things mathematically when you just really don't know, and that's about it, dude. You know, you guys, Pox, Ziggy, Mr. Zeno, and you know, Maury and Ming, and the guys that actually got me into the game, just been real supportive of me and the channel, and so I just want to say thank you guys very much. It's been a lovely ride, and I'm ready for more.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, man.
Stop it. Our pleasure, our pleasure. So Zeno, what do we got, man? What do we got? Zeno.
I think he's muted.
Oh, God. I thought I was unmuted. Sorry, I muted because my cat was meowing.
Awkward silence.
I'm sorry. For the overview today, we're going to be discussing the 1-month race, what we've all been up to, just a little our feelings about the 1 month. We won't go too much into that, but mostly Act 4 teasers, new gems, quality of life improvements to include, you know, some item filters, some life bar, smaller chat, more to go on that, and of course everything Path of Exile Beast. A little bit of speculation there, but if you follow any of the lore, you can already figure out who's what and when, where, why. Okay, so let's kick it off. 1 month discussion. All right, Pox, go ahead. Let's talk about it. What have you been doing in the 1 month?
Okay, so recently in the 1 month, I kind of play a different build than what most people would for racing. I play a Fire Prolif build. It's just what I'm used to. Everyone's got their go-to. My go-to is Fire Trap Prolif, where most people would run Flame Blast Prolif. I'm more of a fan of Fire Trap Prolif. They both have their pros, they both have their cons. You know, it's not an argument of what's better, but they're both very, very, very efficient. And you know, I was doing pretty good. I managed to get top 10 for like the first day. Went to sleep, woke up, was top 15, top 20 or so, and then I ended up dying from something silly. And then I went to the other league, and then I've gotten now 4 of 4 on both. So I'm pretty content with myself there. And actually now, because I'm gonna play PoE for just a little bit, and then I'm gonna take a break until Act 4 comes. So for a couple days, I'd like to play a new challenge I kind of created. That's not really a set challenge. I don't know exactly how it's gonna work. But you guys know the helmet Veil of the Night that doesn't give you any resist. I mean, it technically doesn't allow you to go negative resist. You have 0 resists. Well, the goal is using Veil of the Night on any build I play and seeing how far I can get on hardcore with it.
How much do you hate yourself?
But how will you afford the Veil of the Night?
And it's going to be self-found, so just Veil of the Night and then a completely self-found character and seeing how far I can get. So.
Sounds like
I
fun.
like this idea.
How many have you bought?
6.
You gonna corrupt them or get anything?
No. What's it gonna do? Like,
you get cast on crit level 12. I mean, it's pretty good.
oh man.
To make for some interesting reflect back.
Yeah.
How are you gonna live? You got to be like all physical.
No, I'm just gonna roll 5 seething flasks and just go with it and see what happens. That's it.
You're gonna do the pox method of just relying on your mechanics to survive.
Yeah, and I can't run hatred on. I mean, I don't. Will I die to reflect with hatred if I have 0 cold?
Pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's
first reflect back.
crap. Maybe I can't play. Oh my god. Maybe I'll just run like haste on Cyclone. Yeah.
The only thing I've ever
Instant
thought of
race.
with Veil the Night is if you're using like Incandescent Heart CI. That's the only thing, and it's still horrible, but it's like the only way to help out.
You gotta be like dodge, max block, all that to make it work.
That's cheating. We're doing 2-hand
Spell
Cyclone.
block, spell
I got this.
dodge.
Okay, 2-hand
That's
cyclone.
Cyclone.
Alright. Alright, good stuff. That sounds entertaining. I'll tune in for that.
Let's see what happens.
Please make some YouTube videos, thanks.
Can't
Leap
wait.
slam on a reflect pack, dead.
What
First reflect
about
back.
yeah? What about you, though, Zeno? What have you been up to, man?
Oh man, what have I been up to? Well, I got 4-4 really quick in both leagues, like by day 4, day 3. I mean, really quick. And then after that, I was like, well, what the heck am I doing with this 1 month? I didn't really feel like after I ripped my first character, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna give a crap to even try and push top 20 out. I don't have what it takes. So I was like, I'll do something. I need to keep playing PoE. I don't want to play something else right now. I'm not feeling it. And I was feeling streaming it. So I was like, you know, it just one of those shower thoughts. I was like, anybody who's struggling with 4-4 hardcore, I could totally like frontline for them or curse or like find a way to get them 4-4 hardcore. And so far, it's been pretty good. You know, I've gotten one group, only one person ended up making it. The other 2 died of corrupting blood, which is beyond me. I didn't last in that group either. I died to Igna Phoenix. But the group I'm working on right now, we got 6 people, including myself, and we are just wrecking. And we're just killing content. And I'm going to continue to do this until the 1 month is over. I feel that this is the 4-4 hardcore. It may seem really easy to some, but it's actually pretty intimidating to someone who's never played hardcore. And Bloodlines and Torment together is pretty unforgiving. So I want to try and get as many people as I can and help out the community doing that. I mean, I may not be the best player in the world, but I think 4-4 is more than achievable for me, and I want to keep
On
doing
that topic, I think that this 1 month has been really good for getting a lot of people into hardcore. Heaps of people that have done their 4-4 in standard have come over and tried out hardcore. I've been noticing from lots of people, you know, buying new gear, saying it's the first time doing it. You know, it's an attractive design. The idea that you can even just get in and earn some red boots. You know, that's. Like, you can at least do that. That's not too hard to get at least one of those going. And, you know, you just see how far you can get. And we've got a lot of people coming across and trying it, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm glad they made the challenges achievable. I think the most annoying one is probably the missions. Everything else is pretty doable. And considering from their previous challenges, I mean, in Invasion, it was level 90 in softcore and hardcore. I mean, that's... Some people don't even hit 90 in softcore. They get bored of a character so quick. And then the past league, it was, what, 3 level 85? Excuse me, 3 level 85 characters, and that's just like, please, you know, some people can't even do that in hardcore. So I think it's refreshing they did it like this.
Just to pull this up there as well, for people who want to know, if you go to global chat and you join global chat 820, there's people helping out with the achievements as well, or the challenges for the masters. So if you want to go there and help people out as well, you can meet up there.
Yeah, whenever you find a mission that you know would be beneficial to someone that's kind of rare, like the Ursa Tora, God, Flicker Strike Vegan, just say in Global 820, hey, I got Vegan here. And people will all message you and you can help them out.
And they'll also do full rotations. So, like, say you're looking for Vegan, you'll get 6 people that are just party with through global chat, and you'll do like a 6-man rotation of Vegan. So I definitely urge you guys to check it out.
Really easy too. I got my
That's
Dominus
so
kill in
helpful.
level 69 Zana.
We got
It's the easiest way to get the boss kill.
got mine in a 67 zone.
Nice. Easy.
Yeah. Wow, man, it was sketchy. I was
scary,
75
isn't
or
it?
something, and I was standing on shock, and I was down to 100 hit points. Luckily, I popped my flask. I was like, spam it all.
Yeah, the owner of the Zana mission, who was about to get his from it as well, actually had to log out during the fight, so he missed out on it, but the rest of us got it. Yeah, felt pretty bad for him.
The thing about challenges is normally you do want them to be hard. There should be a challenge, but in a 1 month time frame, 4-4 hardcore is pretty challenging for some people. I mean, not everybody can do it. And are they easy? Yeah, they're easier than the standard
People who are not
challenge.
very experienced with hardcore, 80 is a pretty decent challenge.
Yep.
I mean, for us that have done it a bunch of times, it's like, you know, it's getting to mid-level maps and then you're done. But For a lot of people, getting past that late cruel, merciless wall can be very difficult. You'll have a lot of deaths in those areas.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest help, a lot of people have been asking, how'd you get these done? And 820, of course, but just playing the game, you'll get about half, if not more than half, of the encounters completed to your boots. I mean, just going through until you hit merciless to where you can actually do some maps yourself. You'll get most of them anyway. So
I mean, if you reroll 4 characters in the challenge league, you'll have it before you even hit endgame.
One thing I did notice about the missions, though, not the missions, the Bloodlines Torment, is that Keepers of the Trove is the rarest Bloodlines mod, and you'll find I found probably about 15 of those in all the characters I made, and I still haven't found 4 ghosts. So the rarity on the rare ghosts is way too rare, way too rare. Like Thief, Embezzler, those.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I found everything but my missions my second day playing.
Well,
it might have just been
RNG.
Yeah, it could have just been sheer amount of time or the amount of maps I've ran, depending on the speed you run them. But.
Oh, and for some of you guys that don't know, you don't have to kill the Abazok spawn to get the achievement. You can just kill the pack and get the hell out. That's what I did.
I almost tried to, but I was stopped just in time, perhaps. Then told that I didn't actually have to kill him.
So, what have you been up to, Ziggy? Obviously, you got your 4-4 done on April 4th, and
yes, after 3 unfortunate learning experiences, I on the 4th of the 4th month, the 4th day of the 4th month, I got my 4-4 in hardcore on my 4th character, shortly before finding my 4th exalt in that league.
Right on.
Did Amy have that ready for you? Did you walk out and make that happen?
I when that happened, when I realized all the 4s lining up at the time, I was like, hold on guys, I'll be right back. When I made myself a tinfoil hat.
Oh man.
So that was one of the weirdest series of coincidences that ever happened, and it was right after I killed a level 44 more to get my achievement just before that too. And in my video, and everyone pointed this out, in the video highlight I did of this, the 4s start at 4 minutes and 44 seconds. I did not mean for that to happen. Crazy. Seriously, that was an accident. I'm honest to God, that was an accident. So it keeps going. It's not stopping. I've got the tinfoil hat ready, just whenever I'm feeling it.
So I'm interested to what your take is on the combined coming into hardcore. Are you gonna come on over to hardcore more often now?
Me?
Yeah.
I mostly play hardcore in Path of Exile. I play about 50-50 to be honest. If I look at my entire history, I've played about 50-50. I prefer hardcore in Path of Exile, but I can enjoy both leagues, and I usually just alternate between them. Each challenge league. If one challenge league seems way better than the other, I'll play that. Right. But usually I just go between standard and hardcore, standard and hardcore. I try to get a good impression of both sides of the community. So last one I played Torment, and the one before that I played Beyond.
So let's go around. You're coming back?
Yeah. Actually, I haven't decided yet. Hold on. I played Torment last time, so I should be playing hardcore this time. Yeah. But I think I will. Yeah. I haven't fully decided yet. We'll see. I'll wait and see what the challenge mods are. That's what I just go for the challenge. It sounds the most fun a lot of the time, but so far it's been 50-50.
That's one thing that I'm interested in for this next league is what the next challenge is.
I don't think they'll be
You've never experienced that yet, huh, Venom?
No, I haven't. Coming in here, everything is, okay, well, this is the way the game is. There's no, okay, I have to change the way I play from, say, the Beyond League where the dudes come up out of the ground to whatever the Bloodlines mods were. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know what the Bloodlines mods were. I just thought, okay, well, this is just in the game, until they actually listed them out for you.
It's a very, very interesting experience when all of your game knowledge is pretty much thrown out the window. Like when 1.0 came out, we were like, wow, we barely know anything. We have to completely rebuild the meta.
Yeah, percentage of life was changed. What was it before? You wouldn't go below 220%. 220 was like, I think the lowest. Now it's like 140% is minimum.
No, it was 250. 250? Yeah.
It's crazy. Everyone's like, there's no life on the tree. What's happening? It's crazy.
But yeah, all the skills that were popular changed in 1.0. Like that was when Spectral Throw came out for the first time.
Goodness. Nemesis, the good days. Rip Nemesis.
Everything changed then. There were so many changes.
So
we're
gonna
have that again.
And
Go ahead.
Fire Nation attacked.
What to expect, Venom, and to anybody else who were Bloodlines of Torment was your first league, is JGG does a series over like a course of a month of like little teasers until you get the big picture, and then you play the game. You still find new uniques. You still find a ton of new things throughout the course of it, and they'll give a hint. Like they'll usually release like this is the softcore league, and they'll give like a whole like 3 paragraphs on how it's going to work, and then maybe like 4 or 5 days later they'll be like this is the new hardcore league, and same kind of scenario. So
that sounds. I'm ready, man. I've been trying to learn this tree as much as possible, and I'm not sure if they're going to change the tree.
Yep. Every leagues they tweak up the class that's usually underplayed, give them a little bit of balance changes, nerf things that are a little bit too overpowered.
Right.
And
well, that's good. I mean, having a little bit of a base knowledge now. Going into a new league, the tree shouldn't be as daunting as it was when somebody just comes fresh. Then
true, very true.
It's a really cool experience. You'll be taking what you've learned about learning the game in the past and taking that forwards into basically a new path of Exile. It is really sort of fun and exciting time for us who've been playing it for a while to have this like big shake up, and that's what I'm expecting. I think in terms of the passive tree, I don't think we're going to see as major a change as we saw with the recent class overhauls, so the combined all of the class overhauls. I expect we'll see probably Scion redesign and some other tweaks to other classes and additions to the tree, but I don't think it'll be as big a change to the passive tree specifically. I think the changes will be happening mostly to skills and new skills and obviously a new act and everything.
Yeah, that's my only real expectation is Scion get a little bit of love. She's a little under.
I would love the Scion to get some love.
Yeah, that sounded really weird, Venom. Just want to let you know.
Giggity goo. I tell you what, she's a really strong character for the first like 20 levels, and then she kind of stales out until late game, and it's frustrating because she's in such a good spot to go and do anything that there's a little bit of a drop off in mid 30s, 40s or so.
There was a time, believe it or not, which must have been just before you started playing, where Scion was better for pretty much everything.
Her starting node, I think, was like 16 or 18% spell damage, and all the 6s were 10% as an example of how strong she was.
Damn.
Now it's 10 and 666. Before, I think it was like 18 or 16 and 10, 10, 10.
Her life wheel was even better than it is now. Like, I mean, she was insane. Absolutely insane.
It's like 80% of players were all Scions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Her attack speed nodes were like 6, 4, 4, 4, 4, and you're like, okay. She was absurd.
Yeah, but they added pretty recently a bunch of really cool stuff to the outsides of the tree and made the starting of all the classes better for what they do compared to the Scion. So now she's not very played, but I expect her. I want her to be the class that is supposed to be kind of niche, like that she's there because she can stretch over and get keystones on opposite sides of the tree efficiently. But they need to make that so that is the case, which it currently isn't.
Yeah, the Scion's got 2 good uses, at least I've seen. Max AoE and Valpact. You'll go through Projectile, Valpact, and then you're done.
Yeah, there's only a couple builds where she kind of shines at the moment. Not very many.
Yep. So, anyways, let's kick this off into Act 4. How's that sound, guys? So, the big hype fest about what Act 4 is going to be around is pretty much our background right now. This overlay background. Let's pull up this image. If you go to pathofexile.com/beast, hold on here. It's just got to refresh a little. All right, so we're starting from the beginning. Over the past few days, it's been updated as we go, and someone on Reddit, his name is Ziggy.
It is Sexcalibur.
Sexcalibur has provided us. These is like a collage over the past few days of pathofexile.com/beast, and eventually it looks like it's Mr. How do we say this? Comb. Everyone just says combs, but it's not. Comb. I don't know. But the speculation is that that's who it is. He's atop the mountain.
I would
He's
say
in fact
it's with 99% certainty because the shape of his pauldrons and of his head are exactly the same as he is in the comic. I think that's the final panel of the first comic. I think it was.
Yeah, I read the first comic last night, and it looks like Comb to me.
Mm-hmm.
So what
looks
does
like
this
a post-corruption Comb after he's been twisted
Right.
by perhaps the Beast. There is this giant Doug Trio or Diglett thing behind him opening its maw.
I think GG loves the speculation that we're doing. I think because everybody thought that was a wolf.
Right, yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say.
Everybody thought it was a wolf.
Some people saying snake and things like that.
So is this going to be like the new Dominus type boss, or is this going to be like a new Itsiri type boss? I'm assuming it's going to be the boss of Act 4. At least I'm hoping. No more Itsiri bosses, please.
I don't know. I think he's going to be he's obviously going to be a very important character for it, and I think he's the baddie here. I think he's the baddie. But I don't know if he's the big baddie, because if you look behind him, there's this giant evil shadow with like a wide open lava-filled mouth and eyes. And the idea, I'm pretty bad with action RPG lore, guys. I'm a chronic text skipper, but what I've picked up so far from scattered fragments is that it wasn't really originally a baddie, but he was kind of twisted, and maybe he was like the URL is called Beast, but there's no real beast in this image that we can immediately make out. So maybe the big baddie is the beast that twisted him, or maybe that's for later acts.
So
We'll see.
maybe Comb ends up as a piety-esque fight, and then you got to go fight whoever's
wondering,
twisting
yeah.
or something. Yeah, I could see.
Do you
that.
think we'll see an Act 4 and Act 4X scenario, guys, or do you think it'll be the full Act 4? I don't know if they've said anything about that.
Well, I don't know. Based on, I'm pretty sure he's going to be the final. At least that's what I'm gathering.
That's what I'm going to go with.
I've talked with a lot of guys, and they, if you listen, a couple people told me if you listen to like what Haku's actually saying, he actually talks about Comb a lot when you do his little quests, and he's always referring to him as an antagonist and how much he screwed over the tribe and things like that. So I don't know, it's pretty interesting, and I would like them to be the bad guy. We haven't had a boss like that. It's always been like people like Piety or Val related. This is like a whole new style of lore we really haven't encountered yet.
Yeah, I love that they look to be exploring the lore behind such signature characters we've heard so much about and know especially from their uniques, right? Like Comb's Heart is such a well-known, and Comb's Primacy, that's such well-known and signature items for Path of Exile. To have them be explored as a character is kind of adds a new dimension to that. So that's pretty exciting. I like that they've gone this direction.
Absolutely. Something I would like to say about Act 4 is, I've talked about with my chat, hopefully you guys have too, Act 1 and Act 2, most of the mobs are tolerable. Yeah, you'll have your 1 and 2 problem mobs, your annoying avian birds or whatever it may be, devours from Act 2. But in Act 3, a majority of the monsters are just frustrating. I'm hoping Act 4, all the monsters are not frustrating as all hell. I hope they have a good balance of, your dumb zombies and, your average mob, and then your crazy frog leapers with good breath.
ZiggyD has gotten more and more frustrating with their mob design over time, haven't they?
Yes.
So we'll see. I think they're kind of aware of that now with the talk about how people have been frustrated with things like P-Link, as you said.
Yeah.
So maybe they've taken that on board for the mob design. I mean, you can't blame them for wanting to get more complex and more interesting in their mob designs as they go. Like, they're artists and they're exercising their art and growing their art and creating bigger and badder and crazier and more difficult, more frustrating mobs is like part of it.
No, frustrating. Bring on the challenge mobs. Bring on those mobs you get so frustrated about, but don't make it the entire act. Like the point where you're like, again, when do I get a break?
I'm curious to know the new mechanics behind mobs that are going to be tagged with it, like how you have devours that go underground, drop bears that come from the sky, birds that are set to go eat corpses and shoot. I want to see what they're going to bring out in this one, specifically.
Yeah. The cool thing about this is it means a whole new specters, too. If you're a big-time summoner, I'm sure you've been thinking about this, but if you haven't tried Summoner or thought about it, with a whole new act, I mean, specters are going to be completely changed, hopefully.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting prospect.
What's the standard for specters? Those little ribbon things?
Evangelists.
Evangelists.
And then the proximity guys, is that the evangelists? Yeah.
Because
99% them.
Yeah, the shield blocks pretty much anything, and you can have, I think, with normal builds you have 3 evangelists. Some builds can obtain more evangelists depending on what you use. And you've got crazy uptime, and they deal spell. It's like EK, they deal spell
physical.
That does physical,
which is easy
so you
to
can,
scale, yeah.
Yep, you can put Echo on it, they benefit off hatred, and it's just, they do insane damage. But one thing I want to bring up that's really cool is, who is excited to finally, like if you do magic finding runs ever, it's not, I mean, we don't know yet, but I think it's pretty cool to be finally magic finding a new boss. Potentially.
Ooh.
That's not going to be Dominus.
Instead of Dominus.
I am sick of going through every phase of Dominus and hearing him, the touch of God, and it's just, I want to hear something else finally. So, because I've done my
Ever
share
see
of
the
magic
true
finding.
face of God, Exile?
Yeah, exactly. And then he has this whole little talk with you, and
How many of you guys going into that fight always make something up when he says that?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen the
back to
true
him?
face of the Granddaddy Crab Exile? You know, talk shit to him.
Freaking Dominus. I'm glad they're getting away from that side of the lore, though. You know, like Comb, you just think this guy with this big meaty two-hander, he's gonna jack you up. I mean, it's freaking awesome. It's like a completely different style of like lore that we're used to. I mean, not everybody's into lore, but it's still a nice, refreshing pace to not see just more miscreations and more Val type things. A completely new side of the game we haven't seen. So I'm personally excited about it.
So is the drop rates on any combs going to be higher since you're fighting him?
Please no. There's only one that's worth a damn. Everything else is 1C.
Raining comb signs from the heavens.
Oh, Comb's primacy? 2C, if you're lucky.
I remember when it was actually worth something.
Yeah. Nemesis, when Spectral Throw wasn't crap.
What do you guys reckon about the actual fight? Because I know you just said something about fighting this like beefy guy with a two-hander. See, I think that he's not wearing Comb's heart in the image, and he's not wearing Comb's heart in the comic, because this is post when he's been corrupted and twisted and turned. So I think he's dropped his two-hand. I think he's dropped his primacy and his heart and his roots, because these are the things from the original Comb. This is a twisted by fire. Comb. So I think we're going to see a very fire-oriented fight, lava and volcanic stuff happening going on.
I'd probably have to guess he's going to look something like immune to proliferation, reflects critical damage. So that's what I'm going to guess. Kind of joking now.
In before 95% of the community crits.
I want to see something
Uber
that
boss
reflects
at some
crits.
point,
Yeah.
but not the main boss. No. Not the in-act boss, I don't think.
I really want to see a mob with implicit critical strikes are reflected. I just want to see. It's not going to happen, but I just want to see it so badly.
Immune to crits feeds off of your tears.
Immune to crits is cool. Yeah, immune to crits is cool.
Oh man,
off your tears. I don't know, man. I'd like to see an interesting fight. The second phase of a lot of the bosses out there, the Merveil or the Dominus fight, are just kind of blah, and the first ones are the more difficult. I would like to see a challenge all the way through the boss, as opposed to, okay, we got the second phase, now all we have to do is stand here and not bleed to death.
Yeah, I agree. Most of the second forms of the bosses are pretty chill. Merveil certainly improved from what it used to be. She used to literally just spam waves in you, and that was it. And squids would spawn. It was a joke, but at least it got more interesting. So I think they'll probably try and make it more interesting if there is like a multiple forms sort of thing. Maybe they'll go 3 forms. Whoa.
Usually boss encounters, it's like they usually add 2 things: ads or enraged timers, and I'm hoping they don't add like an enraged timer. I mean, Dominus already has a bunch of ads, Merveil. Yeah, enraged timers,
Thank you for ads, because I'm usually out of flasks from the moon.
Yeah, exactly. I think ads are much better suited in ARPGs.
They'll have ads for sure, because every boss fight they've gone back and added ads to. Like, Brutus didn't have ads before, and they added skeletons to him. Like, I think they want to give people the ability to refresh their flasks without going back to town in boss fights. So I fully expect we'll see ads, little lava minions or something, maybe. I'm looking forward to a super mechanical fire-oriented fight. That's what I'm looking for. Lots of things to avoid on the ground, lots of explosions, lots of specific things like, you know, counterintuitive stuff maybe, like the Dominus Blood Rain, where the first time you fight it, you run away and you end up dying.
Yeah. How many of you here are actually going to progress through Act 4 in hardcore, or are going to go back on an older character to learn it first? That's what I was wondering.
I am going right through progressing once it comes out.
Same thing.
I'll be right in the front line, dying God knows how many times to the mechanics.
Z, how about you?
It's a tough decision because I want to experience Act 4 as soon as it comes out, whereas I'll have to play for the first 3 acts and get to it first. I know it's only a couple hours, but I don't know. I think I'll want to jump on it maybe back on my Tornado Shot hardcore character and run through it there. I don't know. Maybe I'll just play straight through. We'll see. I haven't decided yet, but I'm tempted to go back on another character and experience it.
I figured there would be some people like that. You know, all your standard junkies out there would probably experience Act 4 for all it is, get those new maps, and start linking it on Reddit right away, things like that. That is exciting for some people, so I figured there'd be a few of you out there that might want to do that.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I can wait the couple hours to see it, or I might need to just play it straight away.
Right.
So I might end up on an old character so I can play it straight away.
No, I think if I have a character alive in that position, then yeah, I'll probably just go straight into it.
Yeah. So I think it's time to kick off some skill, gems, and new buffs. Something to help out the melee QQ. Let's get this thing fired up. So the first thing I want to talk about is Fortify. So, it's a new mechanic that ZiggyD is implementing for melee characters, and it's currently attached to a gem called Vigilant Strike, but they said it possibly could be a support gem. Did they say how much a reduction was? Was it 25%?
25%.
25% reduced damage across all global?
It just says reduced damage, I believe.
That's huge.
It's huge. And that's what Fortify looks like. This seems to be a buff. Hopefully Nullifier doesn't knock this off of you, because that's the only thing in the current state of the game that can knock buffs off.
Well, that would actually make Nullifier a bit more noticeable, I guess.
True.
But how many times do you see Nullifier, though?
Yeah, once every never. I mean, but still. I'm just thinking of, you know, melee is one of those things where in some games, if you roll a melee class, you get reduced damage by default. In this game, your class can do anything, potentially, and it's a little bit harder to execute that. You know, like in Diablo, monks and other melee classes get reduced damage taken, and in this game, it's not so much the case because a ranger can be either melee or ranged. So it's nice to come out with a new mechanic like this. I think it's a little bit overdue, but I'm glad they're taking a step in the right direction. What do you think about it, Venom?
I think it's a good thing, man. As my progression through this game has gone, I've played 1 or 2 melee classes. I've been really focusing on the range characters. And the biggest thing that I've seen is being able to understand where the damage is coming from and having enough mitigation to survive. Where does phase acrobatics work in with this? Where does, you know, just stacking up a ton of armor, spell echoing, the enduring cry, how, you know, that's the kind of stuff that I've been into. So I've having a lot of issues with melee classes and wanting to play melee because of just the lack of understanding, I guess, of the tree down on that side of the tree. But I think this will push me back into, okay, let's do melee now, because now I understand what's going on. So I think it's a good thing. Melee needs some love, some TLC. Because not a whole lot of people are playing melee. I mean, 9 times out of 10, when you get into a party, it's well, I'm throwing cold, I'm throwing lightning, and you're throwing fire, and that's it. That's pretty much your party, you know.
What are your takes on the Ziggy and Pox? You guys have been playing melee for some time, you know. Well, Ziggy's pseudo melee with his Reeve.
So
no, I've played a few melee characters. Yeah, I'd like to point out, firstly and most importantly, that the buff icon is a star fort. Someone pointed that out to me. I thought it was pretty clever. Pretty clever. It's the shape of, it's the aerial view of a star fortify. Cool, right? Cool.
I didn't even notice that. I really like the mechanics for a couple reasons. So the biggest thing I hate about certain games is when you have a buff you need to rotate. It gets annoying if it's only a couple seconds. So we don't know what the duration is on this skill, but it is tagged as a duration skill, which means you should be able to link increased duration on it.
I think Rory said they're experimenting with 8 seconds at the moment.
That's fine, because tagging
That's perfect.
Increased duration, you'll get it to like, what, 13 seconds or something? Somewhere around there, which is pretty good. That's not bad at all. I also like that it's tagged as a melee gem, whereas you know how PoE works. You have scepters that are melee, but you're ranged because they can roll elemental. staves are the same way. So even on builds that aren't necessarily 100% melee, if you're up in front, which, you know, mobs use Flicker Strike, mobs have haste, you can still slap the guy in the face and then still get the mitigation buff. So I like it. I like the idea a lot about it. It looks pretty neat.
A lot of people have been saying that this will be abusable by the by ranged characters, and this was like, so for a very long time people have been saying melee needs like a across the board damage reduction, but they're like, we can't put it on a keystone because other classes will just get it. As like, we need to tie it into some way, some clever way that melee will only be able to use. And I think this is like perfectly done, because sure, ranged characters can use this. They can weapon swap. They can go in and whack an enemy with it. Or if they're saying a special throw character, maybe they can leap slam if they're using the support gem, which we don't know how that works yet exactly. They might get the buff from leap slamming in and support gem and using the support gem. But with a duration like 8 seconds or so, basically if they're putting themselves in melee range, so they've earned the buff. They went into the danger of being a melee character, even if it was only briefly. And I mean, it's not like they're getting permanent 25% damage reduction. It's only for a few seconds after they've taken that risk of being melee. So they still have to own that risk in order to earn the buff. So I think this is a great way of implementing this damage reduction for melee. All true melee characters are going to be able to keep this up all the time, either with the support gem or with the Fortify skill and rotation. And ranged characters will be able to get it every now and then when they take the risk to go melee.
I play a lot of Freezing Pulse builds, and Freezing Pulse by nature has like a built-in kind of point-blank effect, where the closer you are, the more damage you deal. So you want to be as close as you can to get that shotgun damage. And, slapping that with a dagger, I usually go dual dagger, Freezing Pulse, get as much crit as I can. This will help out a lot. Now, will I use it? There'll be instances you're farming ledge, you're like, no, there's no way. But maybe, we don't know Act 4 has, we don't, maps, why wouldn't you? If you can make it last quite a bit, or if you're playing like a Summon Raging Spear build, and you already have all that skill effect duration, once in a while you have to use it, why not? It's pretty smart.
I think just for the guaranteed damage, I think that's going to be a big thing as well. Whether you crit on it or not is yet to be seen, but just that it can't be evaded is huge.
This is for Vigilant Strike specifically.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Vigilant Strike. Oh, okay.
Well, that you take the damage and then you turn around and then you get the buff, so he can't hit you back. But Culling Strikers might, this is something that might work for Culling Strike as well.
What SirVenom's talking about here is the new active skill gem that was linked. It's still being worked on. This is not its final state, but it's called Vigilant Strike. You could use it apparently at level 4, which is pretty early, and it's got a huge base damage. It would actually be the highest base damage, I believe, for any melee skill. Heavy Strike being 150 with a knockback. 100% chance to fortify melee hits, great. We don't know the full duration of Fortify yet. They said they're still working on it. But the big thing to note is cannot be evaded. Means that basically you don't need any accuracy, and it's going to be insane with crit multiplier. Like, crit builds are totally going to use this. The only downside is it works similar to Flicker Strike and Cold Snap, where you need an endurance charge to bypass the 4-second cooldown that comes with the gem. Now, some people are saying use endurance charge on melee stun, which I think is ridiculous. You can use things like Duresso's Defiance that nets you a charge when you kill something, an endurance charge. You can use Warlord's Mark or Spell Echo Enduring Cry, and you'll be more than fine, I think.
When you say ridiculous, do you mean ridiculously strong or ridiculously bad?
Ridiculously bad.
You reckon?
B-A-D.
I reckon you could rock endurance charge and melee stun on this skill and get it. I mean, it's a huge base damage skill. It can't be evaded. You can use it on a crit mace build with a little bit of the stun reduction stuff from the tree. You're going to get guaranteed stuns on pretty much everything, and then pretty reasonable stuns on bosses. And you can use Enduring Cry to fill in the gaps. I think it'll work pretty well.
The only, my flip side on it is when you use a skill like Heavy Strike that has 150% base, you're not attaching something to, kind of cripple it, but if you're using a 165% base and then putting in a gem that kind of cripples it because it's not a multiplier anywhere. So Endurance Charge on melee stun just offers you endurance charges. It's not giving it a bonus damage. Whereas it's okay, it's not bad by any means, but there's a lot of other ways, like just Leap Slam. If you just attach your Leap Slam with Endurance Charge on melee stun, if you're doing physical, it's probably going to stun 99% of the time, unless the mob is maybe a certain blue pack with high health or a rare. So,
yeah. There is a downside to this. It does have to use Melee Splash, which is one of those gems with a massive multiplier frowned upon. Is it going to be OP? You know, you look at Viper Strike, one of the highest single target skills in the game. No one likes linking into melee splash. You know, you don't want to wait for your damage. Things like Double Strike, yeah, it's got a great, you know, multiplier. What is it, 140, 130? It's still not used because of melee splash. You know, Reeve is probably still going to take the cake, things like that. But
yeah,
if it had built-in AoE, I would borderline say OP.
I think
it doesn't.
I think some people will play like AoE builds with this. Just kind of people like to make builds out of everything. But I can see some use in this from having it as a single target burst skill. You struck multi-strike on it, you get 3 hits per charge expenditure. And if you have, like, you know, you've got your Enduring Cry going, which you're probably going to be doing quite a bit as melee in the new patch, I'm imagining. You'll have your 6+ endurance charges up, and that's, you know, what, 18 hits. That's a downed rare or boss in no time. That's like,
oh yeah,
insta evaporated.
I mean, 165 base damage is absurd. Absurd.
Yeah, it's going to be an insane single target burst skill that you only get a limited use out of based on the charges you have. But you build up the charges and then you burst down the boss. Pretty cool. I like that. It's a cool skill design all around. I like it a lot.
I think it's gonna really improve the feelings of melee people. I don't know how many times you guys actually play melee, but times that I have, I'm just like, what the hell's going on here? Why am I taking so much? And, you know, then the buff comes in as well. So maybe we won't take as much this time, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
and of course there'll be those builds that just cycle it in as a little bit of extra damage in for the Fortify buff. If you can use it every 4 seconds, the Fortify lasts 8 seconds by default, then you can use it once every 8 seconds and get your Fortify buff up all the time.
Do a main like Static Strike and then come back with this for a single target or something.
Yeah, the other thing is, if you pick up increased duration on the tree, you could get really, really high duration on it. Probably 20 seconds, maybe above 20 seconds.
Something I'd like to add with this too. They said on when they were in the thought process when Rory was explaining the skill, he said it was too strong with face breakers because of its high base damage, and said they had a little teaser on the exclamation point. You click it, and you had like these. If you ever played League of Legends, like Vi gloves, like these huge thunder gloves, and the Marauder runs up and punches it, and lightning damage comes out.
It looks exactly like the Dominus gloves, man.
Yeah, it really does. And I think it might be reskinned face breakers is what my first thought is, but maybe a new lightning unarmed skill. Maybe they're giving more love to unarmed, because initially...
I don't think it's a skill. I think it's a new, unique alternative to face breakers. Maybe like a higher level alternative to face breakers that has a different mechanic.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I love face breakers, man. Those are great.
It's one of those things where Facebreaker was originally designed by a supporter, and then the community just loved the idea behind it. And we've been begging for more and more unarmed things. You know, the fact you can use silly elemental hit with your Facebreakers and it does nothing. Yet still some people out there like making ridiculous builds with that. I don't know why. You know, but I mean, unarmed is loved by the community, and it would nice to be able to see an unarmed skill actually be able to carry some groups. You know, a meta unarmed skill. And when we finally got some love, like Vigilant, what was it? Vengeance, and then that got removed. You know, people that love unarmed had a salty taste in their mouth, and I'm glad they're adding more things like that to the game.
They said plural in the post too, multiple toys for unarmed builds, so it'll probably be more than just this one thing that teased. But I'm predicting, let's throw some rampant speculation out into the wind, I'm predicting a lightning version of Facebreakers. There's a lot of lightning damage you can get on gear. There's a lot of pieces of gear that have lightning damage on them. You can get them on Jori and maybe scales off lightning damage. Could be interesting. Elemental Facebreakers.
I don't know what it is about lightning, but I've just gravitated toward the lightning skills in this game as opposed to everything else. So I mean, another melee skill that's unarmed with lightning. I don't know, dude. It's gonna be. Is it gonna be? Could it be another AOE type thing? Man, it's gonna be interesting to see what's coming with this. The
thing with unarmed is all the skills are pretty bad for it, except for maybe Cyclone. Frenzy's been nerfed. Infernal Blow, you die to reflect. Elemental Hit's bad, and I don't remember what the other one was. Oh, Dominating Blow. I mean, like, we need some love in the unarmed department.
There's no real incentive to do that. I love the Infernal Blow. I ran up 2 duelists, and one died to desync through a wall, and then the other one died to a table. So
what?
Yeah. Yeah, I died to a table with extra shot the void dogs, man, or far shot void dogs.
Oh, okay, I know what you mean.
Wasn't even anywhere near them, and they were melted me. So I enjoyed the infernal blow, just walking into a mob and punching them in the face, going around fisting things. Boom, and the entire pack blows up. It's really fun. It's a really fun build, and I recommend everybody else to pick up a Mega Nords and go for the face breakers. It's great.
Something someone said in chat that this may be a new mob type that they're slapping here with Vigilant Strike, and I was like, hey, yeah, very well. We haven't seen anything with that kind of mask on before. We've seen like that type of humanoid, but I don't think we've seen that.
I thought it just looked like the normal ones out of Scepter of God. It even looks like they're in.
Perhaps.
Well, it looks like they're in kind of like the library tie set or something. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. I just assumed it was one of the Scepter of God's mods.
Very well could be.
If they do graphical changes all the time, it could just be a minor graphical change. But do you like to sprinkle these teasers in? A few people in chat have been pointing this out, and I've sort of speculated on this past as well. The 25% damage reduction from Fortify, if it works with Righteous Fire, could have some big implications for Righteous Fire builds. Because essentially
that
makes you regenerate. Yeah, we don't know. I mean, logic would say that it would work unless they made a specific exclusion for that. That's been known to happen. There are specific cases in Path of Exile where things don't work as you'd expect. But if it does work, that's obviously going to be pretty big for Righteous Fire. It means you can support Righteous Fire without going as ham on regen, or you can just get a huge amount of regen whenever you have this buff up, which would be pretty ridiculous from a Righteous Fire tankiness standpoint.
I hope it doesn't work for Righteous Fire. It's already really strong. It's going to be super meta, as if it hasn't been since Invasion.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really see a huge positive reason to have it work, because the way you scale Righteous Fire is by stacking so much life and regen that as far as melee goes, that's one of the tankier ways you can play.
Correct.
In general.
So you wanted to talk about Ice Shot. You've been in the works about discussing Ice Shot with ZiggyD, Ziggy?
Yeah, so I recently, for my 4th character in Hardcore, because I wanted something different after playing Poison Trapper 3 times in a row, I wanted to play Ice Shot, so I leveled Ice Shot. Ice Shot's a great leveling skill. It's really strong, it's fun to play, it's got a nice impact to it, and a lot of people telling me, that Ice Shot you can't play it endgame. You'll die to Reflect, you'll die to Reflect, and it's kind of like generally known and accepted by the community that's a really dangerous skill for Reflect. And there's been speculation either way that either it didn't work with evasion properly, that it wasn't that the AoE wasn't tagged as a projectile, or that I think you said it, Zeno, that maybe it's just subject to very nasty
cold damage.
No, what's that mechanic for evasion?
Oh, entropy.
Entropy. Yeah, that it's subject to entropy because of how many times it hits the mobs in the pack. And all these seem pretty feasible, but I got on my horse and got talking to GGG, even though they're busy with Act 4 stuff, and eventually they were able to confirm that the AoE is tagged as a projectile, but it does not check evasion at all. So it has Resolute Technique built into it, the AoE. The reason for this is when they first built the skill was before if Reflect even checked evasion, so you couldn't evade Reflect back then, and it was a positive thing for the players because it meant that the AoE would always hit the enemies and the skill became more reliable. But now that we rely on evasion so much to deal with Reflect, you are basically guaranteed a death to Reflect using Ice Shot at some point to Elemental Reflect. You off-screen a pack at some point, it's going to kill you because every single one of those AoEs is going to hit when you crit a big pack or something like that. So, however, Rory and Chris did both confirm that there's a very, very high likelihood that this will be changing in Act 4, along with some other skills. We also sort of on the side there confirmed that Lightning Arrow, which a lot of people believed was the same, actually isn't the same, and its arcs do check evasion against Ondar's Guile as a projectile. So Lightning Arrow probably just has entropy working against it, I guess.
That would explain why, like, when you're leveling with Ice Shot, you feel like you're, like, unstoppable because you never freaking miss.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You feel so strong playing that skill with Pierce.
Yeah, that's it. It's a big strong thing for the skill, but then at endgame, it's what gets you killed and makes it unusable as a regular skill. Endgame unless you go crazy, Vile Pact and Leech and stuff.
I'm glad you got a confirmation. Yeah. Hopefully the quality on Ice Shot gets changed too, because increased duration on Ice Shot is pointless. Who cares?
That's the second part. That's the second part. they have confirmed that they've gone back and they're reviewing quality in a lot of skill gems, and iShot was mentioned.
Please,
as
EK.
Likely getting changed.
Please, EK, give Proj Speed or Pierce, please.
So there's going to be a lot of retuning of quality, because there's a lot of different qualities for skills were designed at different times, and they don't all have the same design philosophy applied to them. So they're going back and reviewing and overhauling probably a lot of qualities in Act 4. So yeah, we should hopefully see ones that like iShot that's like, yeah, you get like 7 increased duration for 20 quality. Or it's like 15 or something. It's like almost nothing.
Oh my god!
Now you might actually get some pretty nice things.
That's pretty good too, though. I mean, there's a lot of gems out there that just like, oh man, I got this awesome gem. You know, you got Incinerate that gives you projectile speed. That's amazing. And but then you have other gems that realize like, yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to try to spend 10 chaos on this gem. It just doesn't even matter. I'll just keep the regular one and it'll be just fine. So it's nice to see an incentive to actually have some quality gems in your inventory.
It's I feel like a lot of the early melee skills, all the qualities like, we'll just give them 10% attack speed. Sounds good. You know, it'd be nice if they actually had like Reeve gave AoE and said like the 10% attack speed's nice, but like a little bit of AoE. Or like Static Strike has AoE, and that's a newer one. You're like, okay, why doesn't Reeve? Or like Viper Strike, another attack speed one. Well, maybe give weapon range, or not weapon range, AoE as well. So that way, if I want to use melee splash with it, I can actually do something. It would be really nice. Or like EK is 15% projectile damage, which is who gives a crap. It'd be nice for it to be Pierce chance, so you can get Pierce on the tree, or give it projectile speed, so you don't have to get Ballistic
Mastery.
Mastery.
Those would be rad. I
mean, Freezing Pulse and Incinerate have a 100% chance to pierce, and their quality gives projectile speed. EK is just like, I suck.
EK as an you guys know I've played a lot of EK. As an EK player, I always want to get the PS. I always want to get PS because PS on EK is such a cool idea, but it's never quite worth it. And when they added those PS nodes, they were still just too far out of the way to warrant going and getting the PS chance nodes. So it's like you could never really use PS on EK, even though you always wanted to. Having it on quality would be awesome. It would be so satisfying.
Like Lightning
like
Strike
20% PS chance. Be great.
Lightning Strike has Pierce. Is there another skill that has Pierce in the game? You get 60%? I don't think so.
Not that I can recall. I know Lightning Strike is deemed as essential, basically.
And then it's great because it's one of those things where you don't have to go, but if you do, you have 100%. Ice Shot would be another one of those things.
It's a decision quality because if you want to go chain Lightning Strike for some reason, then you don't get a quality, and that makes it an interesting decision.
Exactly.
So just quality, I'll derp, I get quality on everything because it gives me a little bit of damage.
Yep.
Actually, having it be an interesting mechanics decision is cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
PS as PS. Yes.
Yeah. I want to see a change with certain totems as well, maybe, because I think every quality on a totem gives
life.
Yeah, I want to see like Rejuvenation totem have area of effect, like a huge area of effect, so it actually does something. That's
oh god, that totem.
Yeah, but it's not bad. Like think of the totem with like 200 or 300% increased AOE, so it actually hits like half the screen. It's actually not bad then if you have like a Tri-Curse support guy just putting a totem down that actually can heal everybody. That actually does something. So
I'd like them like Devouring Totem would be cool. Like Devouring Totem I used to use with cast 1 damage taken in Nemesis for whatever reason.
We'll be able to again, I think, Xeno.
Oh,
I think we'll be able to again.
Is there something you know, Ziggy? Is there something?
Oh no, this is more logical speculation based on what we know is changing. As in, so they're taking Enduring Cry off cast 1 damage taken, right? I think we'll see people potentially use. I'm gonna test this soon. I'm gonna jump in and test this in the current meta, depending on what else they change. But I think we'll see people using high level cast 1 damage taken again, linked to Immortal Call and increased duration, and then self casting Enduring Cry to get their big Immortal Call duration when they need it, when they take a big chunk of damage, and then that frees up a gem slot, which could be used for the Devouring Totem again. So I think we might see some level 20 castle damage taken Immortal Calls.
Devouring Totem's pretty good. I wish it worked for the whole party. If it did, that'd be lovely. Like, it would be more of a use, like more party play.
Probably see a come back with more Molten Shell as well.
A Molten Shell is still alright.
Yeah.
If you like, there's a couple characters I'll run around with max endurance charges just because I don't like. You can be 100% immune, sure, but that one time I'd rather keep them up passively to give regen and other things sometimes, and then I'll just throw in a Molten Shell because I already have a lot of armor. There's some instances I'll do that.
Cast when damage taken, GMP, Flame Totem, Blind is another really good one for a 4-link.
The good old days. But they nerfed Blind and... yeah.
Yeah. Blind's so weak now.
Let's talk about another...
Oh, Venom was going to say something.
Oh,
What's up,
sorry,
Venom?
No, I'm good.
Oh, you weren't? My bad.
Yeah, y'all covered it.
Let's talk about another little hidden spoiler. If you guys know about the filter, the item filter coming out soon, this is an example of it. But if you pay attention here, there's a new gem that kind of teased about. And I know Pox in particular would like to talk about summoner meta and what does it mean. There's summon Chaos Golem sitting there on the floor. What does that mean for summoners? We already have specters, zombies, auras. You're already full up on slots. Does this mean that some summoners, if this